On this episode of Camel Conversations, we sit down with some of the most impactful student athletes and players on this campus. I'm Evan Budrovich, here with the sophomore quarterback, Hajj-Malik Williams, who led his team against 4 FBS opponents this year and just wrapped up his season. Hajj, your team had a unique opportunity to play not only FBS opponents, but put your team on the national radar. How do you think your team responded to that challenge?
We took it one game at a time. This offseason was like no other, so we definitely knew it was going to be a circus. But I feel like our guys really honed in and locked in and knew that we were going to have a huge challenge this fall. So one game at a time, really understanding that if we play well, we might have a huge, support system like we did, and it kind of helped us, But I think we still stayed and protected our bubble, like Coach Mint, preached, and we were able to get it done.
You talk about opportunity to succeed. In that very first game, it comes down to the final play against Georgia Southern, and you took the team into the locker room and gave an important speech after that game. What was your message to your teammates?
Just understanding how much we grew, a lot of maturity. We had a young team last year, understanding that, games like that come down to those that have been experienced. And I was telling Coach Mint after the game, that was my first ever time being in that situation, out of all my years playing football. So I, really wanted that throwback many times, but understanding that, look, we grown. Like, if you looked at the beginning of the game, they kind of, we were a 35-point underdog. So just understanding that we lost, but also we came and fought, and that's all we could ask for.
Last year as a freshman, you were a first-year quarterback, really getting your feet underneath you as an all-conference player in the Big South. How did it change into your sophomore year from a leadership standpoint?
My voice was kind of more dependent on, guys were kind of looking for me to, take that leadership role in the locker room, off the field. So I kind of used that, and I, sat down with Coach. How can I, really gain my team's trust and whatnot off the field? And then we kind of had a different conversations to kind of help that, and I think that's what really helped me, be elected for my teammates as a captain this year.
You have an engaging personality on the field. Where does that come from for Hajj-Malik Williams?
I think just being, being raised, with my mom and my dad, those guys really, supported me through everything, and it just my personality, I don't know. I think it's natural.
It's interesting, Hajj, because this team not only played big opponents, but continued to rise up the rankings and get exposure as the weeks went on. How did you guys handle that attention from a national standpoint?
I just kind of letting it stay where it's at, kind of turning my phones off throughout the week, just locking in on my opponent, taking our scout report, focusing on the guys that we're going to play this fall, this Saturday night, and then kind of just, just leaving that stuff separate. We're going to have guys tugging us left and right for interviews or whatnot, but, just that's a part of the game. When you're doing what you're supposed to do, stuff like that happens.
Speaking of athleticism, in the final game of the year, you pull a little trick out of the bag with the double pass from Mason Donaldson. Take me through that play and your emotions being able to score that touchdown.
Man, it was kind of bittersweet. We were down a lot, so I feel like the touchdown, I wasn't as happy as I was in the Hampton game, because we were up. But, when I seen how aggressive and how much those guys for Wake Forest fly to the ball, I knew that throwing that screen to Mason, they flew by as I turned around and seen nothing but my O-lineman, kind of made me chuckle a little bit on the way to the end zone.
Hajj, on a more serious note, there's been activism on this campus about racial inclusion and having conversations in that regard. Why is that something important to you?
So it's just kind of something that I feel it's kind of long overdue. We've been having situations like this in the country happen, but, the only difference is that it's kind of getting filmed. And, I have an uncle who goes by Mukasa Dada. He's been an activist leader for many, many years, way before I was born. He was an activist with Martin Luther King. So just understanding what's in my blood, the leadership that's in my blood, and understanding that it's a problem in this country, and being that I feel like I have a little more of a platform, I would have to. I feel like I would be doing myself a disservice if I didn't, try to speak up for those that, don't, or lack a voice of,
Your name, Hajj-Malik Williams, is an homage to Malcolm X, a civil rights activist many years ago. How do you feel empowered by his presence and his role to try to affect change in your world today?
I feel that is definitely much needed, from a sports aspect of it. You look at guys like Muhammad Ali, LeBron James, those guys that make a staple in their communities to really, have their voice heard and really create change. So I feel like as long as players like myself that doesn't have a platform like that, but still, kind of just getting that in the head of guys around campus and stuff like that, it'll help create change in a quicker manner.
It's fascinating, too, because these national games brought attention to Campbell and to yourself, things that may not have happened in years past.
Right.
How did you like the ability to take that platform and not only speak out about racial issues, but speak out about things that are important to you?
Just understanding that the more support and fans that we get at Campbell, understanding that we're the same. I don't want to really have the fans change that, this is something I believe in. So, support me, this is what comes with it. I feel like these 4 games did allow us to get more notified or more popular throughout the country, but we're the same Buies Creek team that we were a couple years ago. So just taking that on the chin and understanding that this is the fruits from our labor.
Your mother, Beverly Griffin, is one of our favorite followers on Twitter, very active and commenting on your posts and things of that nature. How much does she mean to you as a support system?
Oh, man, everything. I think that's where my confidence comes from, understanding that no matter what I do, Mom always going to be proud. But me being a competitor, I always want to, do my best. But that lady there, it's not much I can say. Words can't explain how much she's done for me, so I definitely appreciate my dues. But she's always that lady that's running up and down the sideline in the stands, making noise. So, having that support system at every game is big.
You mentioned that support system, being from Atlanta, a bigger city, and coming here to Buies Creek. What is it like as a player to have a smaller community there to support you as a football player?
It's the same. You kind of get that family aspect of it, knowing that, hey, win, lose, or draw, we're behind you, and that's all you can ask for. You can go out there and play your hardest for a team like that and a community like that when they believe in you and they, behind you 100%. And I feel like, I know the sheriff of Buies Creek. I know a lot of people at the fire station. So just understanding that I'm playing for more than just myself and making those people proud back home.
You've played 2 years of football now, 2 years to go in your college career. What is a goal for you heading into this next season?
Growth. Growth. I just want to I want to be my biggest critic and dissect the film and understand where my weakest points are and just kind of grow. I just want them to say this is the best quarterback ever we ever had at Campbell and just continue to help make my teammates around me better.
What will it take from your team standpoint to bring this confidence of playing 4 FBS teams and now trying to play FCS opponents and continue that run in the next season?
I believe it's there. As an offense, I feel like we had a lot of sparks. We didn't have too many times where we were, distraught or say, man, these guys are way better than us. We just were shooting ourselves in the leg a lot of times and going against FBS teams like that kind of makes the score go lopsided and put our defenses in bad situations. But understanding that also this was our first time with this type of offense, understanding that we get these guys right back next year, that's all the confidence we need. So,
as a team captain and now one of the elder statesmen on the team, what did you learn about being a leader? Leadership is in all different types of forms, and guys respond to it differently. That's one thing I learned. Some guys need that vocal leadership. Some guys need it by example, and I understanding that the more I understand my players and my teammates and how they react to what kind of gets them going, that's what kind of helps them go, get the best out of them. One of the areas we saw your most growth was scoring in the red zone, especially with your feet and making plays. What allows you to take advantage of those opportunities and convert into touchdowns?
One thing we kind of seen this far that we didn't see in the past was, the play of our tight end, so he made a big game in Georgia Southern. He was very much respected in the remainder of the game. So when we kind of got down there in the red zone, we seen them kind of focusing on them and kind of trying to spot me. So that leaves me the opportunity to, dissect the coverage or whatever with opportunities with one-on-ones and whatnot, but also having the opportunity to attack my running lanes. That's kind of how the red zone offense really took place. But, when you got 300 pounders on offense, it's easy to just run it in sometimes, so that's what we did as well.
Most quarterbacks are known to take their offensive linemen to lunch and thank them for a big performance. Where would you take your players to support them?
Man, those guys there, I don't know, it's a difference. Some guys like to just chill, play the game. Some like to go out to eat. Some like to do bowling. So I had to really have a vote or just say we're doing this because I'm gonna get a lot of different ideas.
When you took the huddle for that final drive against Georgia Southern, needing a touchdown to win that football game, what was that conversation like with that group, and how did you motivate them to make big plays?
It was simple. You know, when we all had a common goal and we all looked each other in the eyes, you can see the confidence. You know, nobody was ever worried, or because we've been here before. You know, we've had game-winning drives before. So when I looked in the eyes, you know, guys were ready to play and they knew what we needed. They knew that we all had to come up big, and that's what we did.
It's an odd season in many ways, but now with 4 games being complete, you have some time to rest and recover. How do you spend a college football Saturday without playing?
Man, just kind of looking at some of my former teammates from back in high school playing on these big stages to see how they, you know, continue to conduct themselves and play at a high level. But really just kind of I do a lot of self-scouting as well, you know, kind of turning on the TV copy of a couple games from this past fall and just understanding that the ups and downs from each game will be how I'm defined, you know, so understanding that it's not always good to, you know, pull it down so fast and run. Also understand that those plays on third and then I kind of have to sit in that pocket and make that throw.
What makes Campbell football a unique experience, and why do you enjoy being the quarterback here at Campbell?
Because I feel like Campbell is the place to be for growth. Like, so what I mean by that is it's a perfect time to be at Campbell because we are coming up from the ground, you know, from the ground up. And then as our name keeps growing and people keep realizing who we all struggled and came from just being the team that was voted last in Big South, you know, versus now we're trending on Twitter or whatnot. So, like, as we continue to grow as a program, I feel like that's the best thing. And I'm being a part of that, you know, and being a front runner, the leader of the team, you know, I feel like I have a great opportunity to help the team continue to grow and push us for a playoff run next year.
As one of the vocal leaders of this football team and one of the more popular players on campus, we do appreciate hearing your story, Hajj, and learning more about you in this conversation.
Yes, sir. Thank you.